welcome back to another episode of Saturday Night Cinema. As always, I am your host, Sawyer St. Sin. And one more day till Halloween, 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 one more day till Halloween, Silver Shamrock, right? Well, I mean, guess technically when this goes up, it's just like literally a couple hours till Halloween, not necessarily a full day. So tonight we're talking about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Now, you know, many of you might know this one does not include Michael Myers. He does make a cameo in it though, because like the movie that they're showing for the Halloween special is Halloween. So you see like some commercials with, you know, like the trailer bits and stuff of Halloween, but you know, he's not a part of this movie. So we have a release date of October 22nd, 1982. Director and writer was Tommy Lee Wallace, so not John Carpenter. Carpenter was a producer on the film. He did make music for the film, so he was involved, but he was not the writer, nor was he the director. He was just involved in the production. Cast, we're just going to do the three main characters, because there are a lot of characters in this, but just the three main, because they're really the ones that, you know, are either seen throughout the movie or told throughout the movie. So we have Tom Atkins, which he has been in a lot of things. But he is Daniel Chalice, Dr. Daniel Chalice. Then we have Stacy Nilkin as Ellie. And then Dan O'Harleny, and he is Mr. Cochran, CEO and founder of Silver Shamrock Novelties. You know, the big bad guy in this. So let's just jump right into the movie. Keep it kind of, you know, got all that out of the way, kept all the, you know, details short and sweet. Into the movie, so we're right off the bat. We're introduced to this Silver Shamrock, you know, jingle and the masks for the opening credits. And then we see a man. He's got a pumpkin mask in his hand and he is running, like for his life, running from a car. We don't know who's in the car. We just know this dude's trying to hightail it out of there. He goes to the junkyard, tries to see if there's any way that he can get in to like hide anywhere. He can't. The car, he thinks, drives past and then it comes back in and he's trying to get out of the junkyard without them seeing. Gets nabbed by a guy, gets away from that guy, actually pins the guy in between two like cars, gets out, goes down to the local gas station where, you know, he's trying to tell this man like, hey, they're like gonna kill us, but like he's so exhausted and so worn out that he just like passes out on the dude's floor. So tow truck driver takes him to the ER. Well, one of the people that was in the car follows them to the ER. Then we see Dr. Chalice. He has arrived at his ex-wife's house in the middle of dinner to give the kids some very cheap Halloween masks. And his kids are like, oh, thanks. Mom already got it, Silver Shamrocks, look. And they put them on, and then they sit in front of the TV. And they're watching, you know, the Silver Shamrocks commercial, which at this point, it's like October 23rd. So, you know, they're just sitting there like, 7 more days till Halloween, you know. And we hear like the countdown, like pretty much like the whole time of the commercial. So the wife's just like, you know, whatever. And he gets a call, he has to go in. Turns out he's got to go in to check on this guy that the tow truck driver brought in. And of course he's like, you know, they're going to kill us all, they're going to kill us all. But he only kind of like wakes up when he hears the jingle of Silver Shamrock. And then that's when he responds, and he really wasn't responsive to anything other than like that time. But he still has like the pumpkin mask like clutched into his hands. He won't let go of his pumpkin mask. So they're trying to like figure out what's going on with him. They're like, I don't know what's wrong. But they get him settled into a room. Dr. Chalice goes, and he's like, man, I gotta take a nap. So he lays down, and while he is taking a nap, the man from the car goes into this man's room, sticks out his eyeball, or sticks his fingers into his eyeballs and like pulls his skull apart somehow. I don't know. That's like some superhuman strength right there. Wipes his hands on the curtain and then just like walks out of the hospital, right? But the nurse catches him and she starts screaming. Doctor wakes up, chases this dude out. He's not fast enough. Dude is in the car, and he pours gasoline all over himself and lights himself on fire. Then the car explodes. And well, you're not going to get any answers from him. So, you know, sheriff's called in. They're doing an investigation. The patient's daughter, Ellie, is called in. She identifies that, yes, it's her dad, you know, and then she just, you know, the sheriff is like, we'll be in touch when we know more and if we have any questions for you. So, you know, doctor, of course, after any hard night, where do you go? You go to the local bar, right? So he goes there, and Ellie finds him, and she's like, what can you tell me? And, you know, and so, you know, he told her, he's like, you know, your dad's last words were like something about they're all gonna kill us, and, you know, he had this mask, and so, you know, she was like, there's something going on, and they end up going to her dad's store where he sells the Silver Shamrock masks. And they look at his itinerary, and he was like, on the 20th, he was going to pick up an order from Silver Shamrock. And then on like this date, on like the 21st or 22nd, he was supposed to meet someone for dinner, but he never showed up. So Ellie and the doctor get the bright idea to go to St. Mira, where the Silver Shamrock, you know, factory is, where her dad was picking up his order. But before he goes, he calls, you know, to check in on the autopsy, because before, you know, he went to the bar, he was like, hey, like, you know, nosying up to the lady down there, being like, you know, tell me whatever you can, right? And she's like, man, someone got the envelopes or something like mixed up. She's like, all I have here are car parts. So she's still thinking that like maybe in like another processing bin she's gonna find like, you know, bone fragments, teeth, something that she can, you know, identify this driver by. And she's like, you know, I'll contact you like when I have more information. He's like, okay, whatever. So Dr. Chellis and Ellie go driving to, I guess it's south, I'm not sure. I think they're in like LA area-ish, and they go to Saint Mira. Now this place is weird, like super weird. Like they're told that it used to be like an old farming community, and then for some reason like Silver Shamrock came in and like built their factory and just kind of like took over. But like there's cameras, like, closed circuit TV cameras, like everywhere. And so they're like, okay, they get, a room at the same place that, his father stayed, and then he runs into a family with an RV, and turns out, like, I don't know, he's like some like Silver Shamrock, like, #1 seller of the year or something, and he's like meeting with, Cochran. And then they run into another lady who's there to pick up an order. And, she says something about like, like you can't deal with them over the phone. You have to come order in person because they just don't care about the little guy anymore. Something around that nature, right? So they get settled in, and listen, for knowing someone just a few days and that they're investigating their father's murder, right? Suspected murder. Ellie and the doctor waste no time with, Look, if I was investigating my dad's murder, if I thought it was a murder and I'm investigating it, nothing's stopping me. Like, nothing's deterring me. I'm not going to be thinking about, ooh, this doctor, well, he's cute. You know what I'm saying? No, ma'am. Anywho, so the next day, they go to the factory, and, well, actually, hold on. Let's not go to the next day yet. So, later that night, you hear over the sirens about like when the lights are going down, right? Or when the sun's going down. About dusk, you hear over this intercom speaker about like, keep all your activities inside your house. Like, limit all your activities to inside your house. And like, basically like, telling everyone to stay indoors, right? But Dr. Cochran, not Dr. Cochran, goodness, Dr. Chellis, he's an alcoholic. I mean, let's be honest. He seems like a real big alcoholic. And so, he goes to the local store to get some liquor. On the way back, he runs into a homeless man, and the homeless man is like, that damn Cochran, like, he came in and opened this factory, and do you think that he gave a local boy a job? No, hell no. He brought in all of his own people, And it's like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, you have a town full of people that are probably willing and able to work, and you don't give any of them jobs. That's kind of odd. But, the doctor shares a little swig of, whatever the drink was with him, and they part their ways. Homeless guy runs into two of Cochran's goons, and he was just like, I'm just kidding, I was just joking. And one of them rips off his head. So some more superhuman strength that we don't know why this is happening, right? So next morning, the doctor is checked in with, checked in with the girl with the autopsy, and she's like, I still have nothing but car parts. Like, I don't know what's going on, like, but, I'll check back in. So Ellie and the doctor go to the factory, and, basically she's like trying to see if the order came, and, there's, she's just trying to see what's up. like if her dad actually ever picked it up, you know. And so he did, and you know, she was like, there was some, you know, misunderstanding with it, blah, 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 whatever. The lady is basically like, well, there's nothing I can do, right? And about that time, the family comes in, and they're like, we're here to see Mr. Cochran. And Mr. Cochran comes out, and he's like, oh, my bestseller, blah, 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 you know, whatever. And then he, like, you know, asks the other two about, you know, them, and they're like, oh, we're Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like, nice to meet you. And, you know, Dr. Cochran, or gosh, I keep calling him Dr. Mr. Cochran, you know, tells the family, like, hey, like, you know, we're tour of the factory. And he was like, hey, can my friends come? And he's like, I was just about to ask them about that. And he also tells them that he's going to take care of their messed up order. So they go in the factory, and they see, you know, how production's made and whatever, and they get to one of the rooms, and the little boy of the family is like, oh God, I want a mask, you know. And Mr. Cochran is like, of course, here, have one that's been through final processing. And the dad's like, well, you know, what's this final processing like, you know? And he's like trying to, like, you know, poke and prod to, you know, Cochran about, you know, what this final processing is. And they get outside, you know, and they see, like, the second building. And he's like, oh, no, I wouldn't go in there. And, you know, final processing has, like, you know, a lot of chemicals and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, I wouldn't want anyone to get exposed. Yeah. So, as Ellie and Dr. Chalice are, like, walking through this one part of the factory, a garage door opens up, and she recognizes her dad's vehicle. So she runs over there to it, and then all of, like, Cochran's goons, like, stop her, and she's just like, oh, and she just backs away, you know. And then we get a close-up of Cochran's face, like, you know, there's something not right with these two. We need to, you know, we need to keep an eye on them. So, like, back at the hotel, they decide that they're gonna get out of there. If they need to get out of there, it's time to get out of there. So they want to get out. Now, the doctor wants to call the police first. He said there's got to be someone that's underneath his jurisdiction. Because the night before, right, the lady that they had met, right, that was like, they don't even care about the little guy anymore, right? So the night before they went on the factory tour, this lady, one of the, like, emblems, the silver shamrock, like, you know, I mean, it is, it's like, it's an emblem, an embellishment, right, fell off of a mask, and she was like, you know, mad about the quality of it, right? And so she, like, picks it up, and she's, like, messing with it, and she, like, is picking at it, and then, like, a blue light, like, literally, like, right into her mouth hole, right? And after that's done, and she's, like, screaming, we see her laying on the bed, and, like, her lips are all, like, peeled away from her mouth, and it's just like, right, I know, that's real cute. It's real cute. And then, like, a bee flew out of her mouth and, like, was, like, crawling around, right? So it's like, oh, wow. So what is that? Like, what is that? So Cochran, like, they were like, oh yeah, we're taking the body to the factory. Like, obviously, like, instead of having, like, police or, like, whatever, just, like, everybody goes to the factory. Like, what? I'm sorry, excuse me? You don't got, like, a hospital? Or, you know, a police station? Excuse me? Anyways. So, and, like, on the tour, like, you know, he was like, oh, by the way, like, we sent your friend to, you know, a hospital in San Francisco during the factory tour. Okay, I guess I'll believe you. But after that factory tour, like, Dr. Chalice goes to the front desk, and he's trying to call the lady at the obituary office. Like, not the obituary, goodness, the autopsy. And she's like, all that I have here are like what would be like auto parts, mechanical parts. Like, I have no bones, no nothing. And then we see that one of his goons, one of Cochrane's goons, is there with her. He pulls out a drill. She hangs up the phone with the doctor, and then she like tries to call somebody else. And before she can like even get a number from information, goon like hangs up the phone, like knocks her down and drills a hole into her head, kills her. Also, during that, there's this like lovely shot where like there's like, you know, it's, I don't know why they did it, but it's like the edge of the desk, right? So this is the desk. And then right in the middle of the desk is just her legs spread wide open. Why did we need that shot? I mean, you can't see anything because her dress is there, but still, I mean, come on. Some respect, right? Anyways. So from the time that the doctor left the hotel room, which, and made the phone call and got back to the hotel room, less than 5 minutes. It had to be less than 5 minutes. Ellie is missing, and then there's a shit ton of Cochrane's goons outside waiting for the doctor. So he like hightails it out the bathroom window and is like running through the town, trying to hide from Cochrane's goons, only just to go to the factory anyways. Like, they were gonna take you there. Just saying, they were gonna take you there. So you could have just hitched a ride with them instead of like wasting your energy. Anyways, so while there, he is snooping through, you know, the warehouse and the factory. He gets to a phone and he calls his wife, because this is Halloween, like Halloween night now, right? And he's like, there's something going on with the masks. Don't like let the kids wear the mask. And she's like, you're crazy, you know, and she's just like thinking like he's just trying to, you know, he's just jealous and he's just trying to make trouble for me. So she hangs up with him. She's like, go to hell, and hangs up with him. And so he ends up, you know, like finding Cochrane, or Cochrane finds him, one of the two. And he's like, where's Ellie? And Cochrane shows him, you know, she's like tied down to a table. And then like Cochrane also shows him that, oh, I forgot to mention this. At the beginning of the movie, like way back at the beginning of the movie, there was a news report that someone stole a piece of Stonehenge. Well, guess what? Cochrane has it. And Cochrane, like, you know, was kind of telling him about, like, that it holds certain power and, you know, everything. So he's just basically like, here, let me show you. And the family, you know, where the father was like the bestseller or whatever, they get taken into this little room that's set up like a, I mean, okay, it's set up like a living room, but I mean, what living room has metal walls? So the kid's got his pumpkin mask. He puts on the pumpkin mask. He turns on, you know, the TV. And it's the Halloween commercial that they're going to show after the, you know, Halloween movie for their giveaway, right? For their big giveaway. And so the, happy Halloween, 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 all of that is going on. And then it starts like just flashing a pumpkin, like epileptic flashing a pumpkin, right? And like the kid is just like, and he's like pulling at the mask and he can't get it off, and he like falls over dead with like just bugs and crickets, and finally like a big old rattlesnake like comes out, and like his mom is just like, as soon as she saw what was happening, she fainted, dead, boom, fainted on the ground. And the dad is like, oh my god, and he's like freaking out, and then he gets bit by a rattlesnake, and like everybody's dead. So Cochrane's plan is basically to kill everyone, pretty much. And so what he does is he sticks Dr. Chellis in a room with a TV, he's got him, tied up, right? Puts on one of the masks, and he's like, enjoy, and he turns on, the Halloween movie. Well, listen, this is the same kind of gripe that I have about superhero like movies and superhero villains. You just leave the person in the room by themselves. Like, you don't make sure that what it's gonna. Always make sure your plan is through to the end, so you know the person is not a threat anymore, right? Anyways, so Cochrane goes back and they're doing all their weird, stuff. And I mean, he gives a big speech about witchcraft and, how, like, there hasn't been, like, a proper, is it oh my gosh, you guys, I don't want to mess this up. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, I don't want to. Anywho, there hasn't been one for like 300 years. And he's like, novelty is jokes. Like, and what's like, the ultimate joke on children? This would be the ultimate like prank on kids. It's terrible. Anyways, because like, also, like, witchcraft needs a good like sacrifice, right? What better way to sacrifice, like, I don't know, millions of children, right? You should get lots of power from that. But alas, Dr. Chellis is able to get away because he puts his foot through a TV and cuts himself loose with the glass from the TV, and then puts the mask over the camera with the, the closed circuit camera TV situation. And then somehow, even though he doesn't know exactly which room Ellie's in, somehow he busts her out. So he busts out Ellie. And then he finds like a big box of those emblems, the Silver Shamrock little emblems, right? And he just starts dumping them out over the workers and Chellis. And now we have found out that the workers are robots. Everyone that works in his factory, robots. Because what are robots other than, obedient? Also, robots don't call in sick. No sick days. Robots don't need vacation. I mean, I guess he's got a point, from a business standpoint, right? But these like things, when they start malfunctioning, right? And then, like, because he's also switched to where all the TVs are doing the flashing the pumpkins. So all of these chips are just going off, left and right, all of them. Taking out every single robot. So then the TVs start having this like weird electrical like thing happening between them, right? And then the energy of the stone from Stonehenge is like going all haywire, right? And Cochrane is standing right in the middle of all of it. And the TVs and Stonehenge like shoot out this like beam right to each other, and Cochrane's in the middle, and poof, he's dead. Right. Cool. Awesome. So, bad guy. Done. But there's still a problem. The commercials are still going to run. So they've got to get somewhere where they can like get someone to turn off these commercials, right? You got 3 networks. Got to turn them all off somehow. So as they're driving back, Ellie attacks him. Oh my god, guess what? He switched out Ellie for a robot. Like, basically, I guess what he did was he, like, you know, I mean, I would think that he would just, like, skin her and put it on a robot, right? Sounds pretty decent. Anywho, so he fights off Robot Ellie, right? And he has to take off on foot because they've totaled the car. There's no way he's going to get that car to go anywhere. So he huffs it on foot. And he is back at that same location that the truck stop, gas station, whatever, from the beginning of the movie. And he's like, I need you to use your phone. It's important. I need you to use your phone. And then the weird thing about this is that there are kids at the gas station trick-or-treating. Have y'all ever gone to the gas station to trick-or-treat? Because I've never been to the gas station to trick-or-treat. I'm getting a raised hand from my cameraman, producer, editor, all around badass. But I've never done that. I guess I've never lived in like a super rural community where that was a thing. Anyways, so there's kids there. And one of the kids is like, ooh, turns on the TV. Well, you know, Dr. Chellis is on the phone and he's like, you've got to turn them off. You've got to turn them off. Okay. So we're getting down to the point where there's like a little bit of a flashing pumpkin on the first one. And it's like, technical difficulties, right? So she goes to the second one. And it does it a little bit and then technical difficulties. And he's like, turn off the last one. And she goes to the third one and like it's flashing and he's like, turn it off. And he's like screaming and then it's over. You guys, we don't know. Did he stop it in time? Who knows? That might have been why we didn't have some kind of follow-up to this one, or even like it. I don't think there's any like, not to my recollection. Please like tell me if I'm wrong if you know this, because I haven't seen all of the all of the, you know, Halloween situations. But I mean, even with any of them with Mike Myers, do they like say anything about Silver Shamrock? Like even like a slight hint of it? Because if not, I'm very disappointed. Anyways, so that's the movie. I thought it was fantastic. I loved it. And currently it's my favorite Halloween. Some of y'all are gonna like come at me for that because Mike Myers. Look. I love my slashers. I love those guys. Okay? I love them. I like Mike. If you didn't see Friday's video on, you know, that site that shall not be currently named, I did a tribute to him because I knew that some of y'all would come at me for this. So, zip it. I thought it was fantastic. Loved it. I liked that there was a nod to him in the movie. Like, there was twice, no, maybe three, maybe it was 3 times, that they showed, like, you know, clips of the movie. There were nods to it. So at least there was that. For all of you, you know, about to yell at me in the comments and stuff. Anyways, thought it was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. So now what do we do? Like, Halloween is over. Halloween season is over. We're moving into November. There's no good Thanksgiving movies. I mean, have y'all seen some of those? Like Thanksgiving? Ugh, please, no. I'm not doing it. I will not do it. So November's theme is going to be musicals. Yes, musical horror movies. Some of them might be just like plain rated R, right? And so what is one of the first, horror musicals that you can think of? I mean, personally, I think of Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's right. And, since it's musicals, you might get some other special treat videos over on that site that shall not be named right now, because sometimes it gets you, dinged, and I don't want that. But you know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'll, do some sweet little videos over there. I mean, I do have an Eddie act. Who knows? You'll just have to tune in next time. Have a great evening, guys, and happy Halloween! Bye!